Let us look at the third part of this section, college level math. Number 11. So what we want to do is we want to multiply and then simplify here. All right. But the thing is, I realized that 2y minus 3 is common. Ooh. I thought I was going to multiply them, but because those two things are common, what I decided to do is maybe I should factor them out because they're the common factors. Then what do we end up getting? 2y minus 3 is factored. Then from the first one, we have 5y left. But from the second one, we took the entire thing out. That means we have 1 left. So in fact, that becomes my answer. Which one is it? It seems like choice B is the correct answer here. Alrighty, let's look at number 12. For what real number, or real numbers x, is the value of this one negative? That means we are looking at x squared minus 6x plus 9 has to be less than 0. But wait a minute. We realize that this is a perfect square because let's try to factor this one and see what we end up getting. Which two numbers multiply to 9 will add up to negative 6? Yes, it is in fact negative 3. In fact, this, I'm not sure if you noticed, this is a perfect square. So we get x squared. If you have to factor this one, we get x minus 3 times x minus 3 is less than 0. But that means basically we have x minus 3 squared is less than 0. Now, before we move on further, I want you to think about it. Is it possible for you to have something that's squared to be ever be negative? No, that's not possible at all. So our answer is no real numbers of x is possible in this case. All right, let's move on to the next problem, number 13. The fact that they want you to find the root, and you can see that this is not factorable. So what would you do? You have to remember the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is based upon the quadratic equation here, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. In this context, x should be equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So then in this case, you can see that a must be equal to 1, b is equal to negative 5, and c is equal to negative 1. So using those three values, I'm going to put them in over here. Then our x value should be negation of b. So that means instead of having negative 5, we will have 5. Plus or minus square root of negative 5 squared becomes 25. Minus 4 times a becomes 1. C becomes negative 1. All over 2 times a, which is 1. So you can see that 5 plus or minus, negative becomes positive. So we end up getting 25 instead of minus, but 25 plus 4, which is square root of 29 over 2. So in this case, we are looking at 5 plus or minus square root of 29 over 2. Only thing that's possible is choice E becomes the answer. And don't forget the quadratic formula. Number 14. In the xy plane, the graph here, y equals x squared, and then circle with center at 0, 1 and radius of 3, how many points of intersections do we have? So in fact, if you have to think about it, I have a parabola y equals x squared. It goes up this way. And then, so let us say this is equal to 1. But my radius of the circle would have been equal to 3. So, radius is 3. That means from here I'm going to go all the way up to 4. And then here I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Circle will reach all the way up to here. So imagine if I have a circle that goes around like this much. So a little bit off, but let us say this would be equal to then 1, 2, 3 units. So negative 2, 1, 2, 3 units from 1, that's 4. Then how many intersections would you have? 1 here, 1 over here. So you can visually see that our intersection would have been 2. And that would be the easiest way for you to do this question. Number 15. Now in this particular question, they're looking for the slope. M here represents a slope. So when you have y equals mx plus b, you realize that m is slope and b is the y-intercept. Now how do you find the slope? Slope is found by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So between these two, let's try to find y2 minus y1. y2 is r minus y1, which is equal to 0. So r minus a 0. In terms of x, we have to keep the same order. So first we have to go for 0 minus x1, which becomes s. And what do we end up getting, guys? We have r over negative s. So which one of them represents r over negative s? Oh, choice A. That becomes our answer. All right, with that one, I'm going to close up, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.